All right, let's get things underway. On behalf of Greg and myself, welcome everyone. Welcome to our last webinar of 3, which we've been hosting to familiarise yourselves with the Coast To Kosci 2023. Anybody's just joined, please jump on mute, that would be great. Andrew Barker, not calling out any names. So this time, the webinar, it's all about the actual support crew of our runners. And we're going to hear from certain people this evening. But firstly, if I could just begin by acknowledging this brilliant country in which we all reside, and give a special mention to the actual traditional custodians of the various lands in which we're located this evening, and especially to the guys that we run the Coast To Kosci, the lands that we run the Coast To Kosci race over, those of the Yuin people and those of the Ngarigo people. And then to pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging, and to celebrate the diversity of Aboriginal peoples and their ongoing cultures and connections to the lands, to the mountains and to the waters of Australia. Just a couple of house rules. If you could all jump to mute, that would be great, but there'll be plenty of opportunity.
This one as well.
There'll be plenty of opportunities afterwards if you want to kind of ask any questions. In the meantime, take advantage of the chat, jump on there, post any questions, comments, any compliments, any abuse, just chuck it in the chat and we'll cover them off then. So, webinar number 3, support crew considerations. We'll kind of run the same road as prior years. What we're going to do is interview the support crews of a couple of this year's veteran runners. We want to grab their perspectives, we want to grab their opinions, grab their insights, just into the importance of support crew. And they're kind of the importance of that crew to get the runners across the finishing line of Coast To Kosci. So I'm delighted this evening that we've got the support crew of both Shaggy Redfern et la magnifique équipe de soutien de Stephane Moulin, and they're going to join us to proffer their insights this evening. My French accent and wording is not the best, as you can see. So from Shaggy's crew, we're delighted to welcome Darren, Chern and Penny. Red Penny is Shaggy's wife. And from Stephane's crew, we've got Paul and Darrell. And I'll open with a comment from Shaggy. And it's just really to emphasise the importance of support crews, because in an online conversation with them, Shaggy stated, "Mate, it's always about the crew. Without them, we would certainly not be able to achieve what we do." So that's the importance of the crew. So let's dive into a few questions with the support crews. And I'll start off with Stephane's crew, right? Specifically Darrell. Darrell's joining us from the US this evening. My sources tell me that Darrell's a bit of a runner himself. He's just done a 3-hour Boston Marathon. So Darrell, how did you end up getting roped into being support crew for Stephane? I hope Darrell's on the phone line now after all that.
Yeah, I hope so as well, Mikey. I'm not sure if he is, because he's still in the US. So.
All right. Well, let's go to Darrell's. Let's go to Stephane's other crew member.
Paul.
Paul, yes. Paul Manning.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Hey,
how did I get roped in? Okay. I started with Steph probably about 10 years ago at Up Coaching. And I turned up a bit of a fat fella. And yeah, he introduced me to running and sort of took me under my wing, I suppose. And yeah, the rest has been a bit of history. Kept at it. Been over the world with him a little bit in Chamonix and helped him set up a up coaching mob out at the hills, and we don't live too far from each other, and yeah, we've just become good mates, and yeah, it's a pleasure to help him, to be honest. As you ask, we probably, as crew, probably get more a kick out of it than the runners sometimes, I think. So yeah, it's good fun. So, and plus I'm not running. So, you know, I'm probably getting more of a kick out of helping him achieve his goal, because it's probably something that I can't do anyway. I don't know.
You're probably too modest, Paul.
I don't know
That's
about
brilliant.
that.
That's a great answer. What about Darren, Chern and Penny? How did you get roped into being support crew for Shaggy?
Who wants to go first? Me? Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yep. All right. I think Stephen just asked me about 2016 to do the first one. I think that was the year. And then I just said yes. And I've been there since. So I think this is number 3. I think. I've lost count. And
I think
yeah,
your comrades in arms are saying it's number 4, Darren.
number 4. Yeah, maybe. I've crewed for
This will
some
be
other
number
people
4
as
this
well,
year.
but number 4. Yeah. Yeah, I've crewed for other people as well. So I've lost count how many times I've crewed for people. But yeah, I think it was the first one was 2016, I think. And then come third in that one. And then yeah, and I just thought, okay, I'll do it again and again. It's good holiday. You call it a holiday?
Cool. Penny?
Finally, the Department of Education has actually approved my leave to have some time off in December, and where else would I rather be? I'm following a bunch of crazy runners around and supporting everybody that we can.
Excellent. Chern?
I don't think Chern's not
Yeah.
sure. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chern. I didn't realise. Apologies.
Hello. No, it's all right. What was the question again? Sorry.
I'm just wondering how you get roped into being a support crew for Shaggy.
Oh, I guess it's a good holiday, and then Shaggy sort of asked, and I've been there a couple of times, so I thought, yeah, it's pretty good. Let's head up there, have a good weekend, chill out, do a bit of running, and get him to the finish.
The theme that seems to come through there a bit is holiday, and it's actually quite common to hear that amongst a number of different support crews. So I suppose if I look at it, what the support crew gets out of it besides a holiday, and it's not exactly lazing by the pool, sipping cocktails. Certainly not at Dalgety anyway in the middle of the night. But Penny, what do you get out of being a support crew member for Stephane?
Look, I love supporting Stephane, always have. I love watching Stephane reach his own personal goals and living his best life, because that makes me happy. If I can support anyone to reach their goal and be the best that they can do, that's, makes me really happy. And you know what? I aid and abet everything he does, so I'm a facilitator.
What about you, Paul? What do you get out of it?
Yeah, sorry, just unmuting. Well, yeah, won the holiday. That's the common, and like you said, it's not a holiday, but come on, look where we are. Doesn't, the back roads, some of the places we get to go to, you never travel in back roads before if you never do something like this. And again, going back to the fact that probably, I would never run it, and to help Steph do what, he wants to do, you're helping a mate. What more can you get out of that? Bit of joy yourself. Plus you're going with some, hopefully, the other two that we take along with, we have a good time, and we get to go into Dalgety and Steph doesn't. So that's pretty good, kick him out, make him run. It's good stuff. Can be cruel to be kind sometimes.
The heater is warm, the soup is warm, and
you're not coming in.
And the toilet is clean.
Yes. No, it's great. It's good to help someone achieve their goals, and yeah, not so much a holiday, but just where you are it's a pretty spectacular part of the world, to be honest.
Yes, we've heard pretty jolly answers just now. You seem like a jolly group of people. Let me just fire this question off to Darren and then to Chern and Penny. What are the essential ingredients of being a top-notch support crew?
I think you just need to get along with all your crew people, for starters, because you're in a very confined space for a few days there. So you all have to get along, and you sort of all have to have a role to play that you know who's going to be doing what, and that's going to change as the race goes on. So you have to be very flexible, very calm, laid back, don't stress, and just get to know what your runner, what they want. And yeah, that's what I think. Just go into it and in a chilled out mode. Don't stress, because once you start stressing in a car with 3 people with no sleep, and it doesn't become top notch. So you need to keep your cool and be motivating, and yeah, just be calm. That's all I can say. Calm and collected.
Anything to add to that, Penny or Sharon?
I think a little bit of tough love along the way for the runners is certainly needed to be a top-notch support crew. I have no problems telling people that, get out. If I'm out here doing this, so are you.
Cool.
Yeah. I think maybe like it's more just, as Darren was saying, just being chilled out and staying calm regardless of what happens. I mean, he's having whatever, a good time or a bad time, we're all there just to get to the finish and just enjoy, even if it's tough. And don't forget to take care of ourselves a little bit. And I think that's enough to get Steve to the finish.
Excellent. And to Steph's crew, I don't know if Darryl's joined us yet, but Paul? Same question.
I think Darren hit it on the head. Chill out, relax. You can't stress the runner out. We're pretty lucky that we've got a pretty chilled runner, so it's all good. And just get the job done, but chill out, and be humorous sometimes. That helps. Be a bit of a clown occasionally.
And what would you consider? So, having been there, done that, I suppose, from a Coast To Kosci sense, as a support crew member, what's been a low light, and what's been a highlight, Paul?
A low light was at Cathcart.
Yes.
We thought Steph knew where to go.
Turn right.
And he didn't turn right, but we did. We didn't wait for him to turn right. So that wasn't very much of a good support crew, really, to be honest. So that's. But again, we didn't stress about it. Yeah, were we worried? No, of course, but we didn't. It was so far to go in the race that it was not time to sort of stress out. And you just got to get on with it. And a mistake was made. So that was a bit of a low light. Highlight. The first year that he done it, coming down from Kosciuszko, I think he was doing a 5K park run, to be honest. So it was pretty impressive to see him come back down. But I think the whole thing's a highlight. Getting on with the crews, meeting the other runners. You sort of become, it's your own little world for, a day and a half, 2 days, whatever it is. But with everyone, not just us, with everyone. So it's pretty good meeting everyone. And you forget about life for a while.
It is good up to 46 hours. And just a little piece of advice for anyone new: Cathcart turning right is one of the easiest turns. But if one gets missed for some reason, that's the one people miss, even though it's perhaps the most easiest or one of the most standout turns.
Yes, we certainly learned our lesson there.
That's okay. And I'm sure Stephane has as well with that as well. Penny, for you, and highlights, lowlights?
I guess for me, this is the first year I'm actually crewing for Stephane. So
You've been
I
on the
guess,
you've been on the other end of the phone.
but yeah, absolutely. And I guess one of the things that's a low light is sometimes, not knowing what's going on. And it's like, with coverage hard, it's hard sometimes because it's like, what's going on? What's going on? And the first year, I think for a highlight would be the first year in 2016 when Darren messaged me and went, he's going to finish in the top 3. And I'm like, nah, no way. And he's like, yeah. So a midnight run in my PJs, jumped in the car, off I went to meet him. And yeah, it was great. It was great to finish and see him come 3rd that year. It was an awesome thing to do. I wouldn't have missed it for the world. I'd drive, to hell and high water to see that again. It was awesome.
In your PJs?
Absolutely.
Darren, your perspective?
A
highlight.
low light, I think, was the last time I went with him, and we got a flat battery with Blue Dog. And I think it was raining. I can't remember. We were drying his socks, and we left the heater on. We were drying his socks on the dashboard and the heater on, and the thing went flat. So that's probably the low light. So make sure, but we're lucky we had good people around who could give us a jump start. And the highlight would be the first year. There's probably lots, but the one that probably comes to mind is coming down Kosci in the first year, where we were probably running like 4:20 pace most of the way down. So that was pretty amazing. After the next day after that, when we decided, the other guy who was crew, and we decided we might go for a run up Kosci. We had only done a bit of running, so after presentation we thought we'll go for a run up Kosci, and Stephane can go have a sleep. So after the presentations, and then he goes, "Oh, can't I come?" And I said, "We're going to run up there." And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, all right, you can come." And we were lucky to keep up with it. And so the next day, after running the 240 odd K, he decided to come for a run with us, and then taking the Kosciuszko Pale Ales up and had a few beers up the top. So that was a good highlight. That was the next day, yeah. But the low light, I think low light last year, or the year before, was getting the flat battery, and trying not to let Stephane stress out about that. But yeah, that was Blue Dog did he did well. So yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Sticking with you, Darren, and he relayed that incident. That's just going into bloody beast mode altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from getting your runner into beast mode, can you describe what you need from your runner
to get them into beast mode, to get them going?
No, not necessarily. Just what you need, because you want to get them to the finishing line. So that's the main objective.
So what you need what you need to know from your runner.
What you need from your runner.
I think you just need to you got to know their personality, and then you just need to know how to get them going when the going's really, really hard. And what they like, and that's where Penny's going to be good this year, because she knows exactly what Stephen's like. But you really I think you just need to know their personality, and if you know their personality, you can deal with situations where the shit hits a fan, I think. So you can sort of get to know if they're what sort of mood they're going to be in, whether you can can I do this, can I kick them up the arse doing this, or so yeah, you need to know what they're like. And it helps if you've crewed for people in the past, the same person, because then it just flows. So yeah, so the first year was sort of 2016, a long time ago. So I've done it, this will be the 4th time. So it sort of just goes automatic pilot now, in a way.
Penny, would you like to elaborate on that at all? What do you need from Stephane?
Look, I think what I need from Stephane is always look that I can read Stephane like a book these days with his running. And I know just by looking at him whether he needs a swift kick up the butt or if he needs, you know, some gentle love and care, like, all right, come on, let me look at your leg. Yep, it's still attached to everything it needs to be. All right, off you go. You know, you've got this. And I think that's really important. I think Darren touched on really knowing your runner. And I think if you don't connect with your runner and you don't really know them, it's a bit of a tougher slog than it needs to be if you take the time out to get to know them. And it can take a while. 5 weeks out from the run, hopefully everyone knows their runners by now, because you want to be asking those questions. Hey, show me, what does your face look like when you're just tired? You know, what does your face look like when your toe hurts? You know, what those things. It's those things that pull people across the line in a way that's more enjoyable for everybody.
Yeah, they sure do. Chern, anything to add to that?
Not really. I think it's more, yeah, I think it's pretty much what they've just said already. But I'll just say, I guess, I think it's just being there, trying to think for the runner and sort of take that load off the runner so the runner doesn't have to think too much, I guess. Like, think about, you know, when was the last time he ate, what has he had, and the more thinking I can do on behalf of the runner, then ideally the less that they've got to do, and then they can just focus on running well and getting to the finish.
Yeah, for instance, Sharon, you wouldn't be telling even there's a dead battery in the car.
No.
No.
And with that, Chern, do you build a good support plan?
Sorry?
As a support crew member, as support crew, do you build a plan?
I think the plan sort of gets worked out between the crew during the day or like before, but I think it's more, for me personally, I just have like I think about what it could be like and what I would need. And so even if I'm pacing or running at some point, I just try and, you know, put myself in the position where I'm thinking as much about it as I can without trying to let the runner think about it. That's about it.
Well, thank you, Paul. What about your perspective? Do you build a plan in conjunction with the runner? Do you build your own plan?
We sort of do, yeah. It's we'll probably meet up a week before the run. Steph is lucky with his beautiful wife that she's a nutritionist, so she has a nutrition plan pretty much, and it's regimented. If we don't follow that plan, we're in big trouble. But yeah, we'll catch up probably the week before. We all know our roles. Daryl, who's not on here, pretty much takes care of all the nutrition and all that stuff for Steph. And then, yeah, I'm the driver pretty much, and mainly calf muscle rubber. So, yeah, we all sort of know our role along the way. So, yeah.
So thank you. So having those roles assigned, I understand the importance of that. Does that also then fall into seating positions in the vehicle and how you organise the vehicle? Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, the driver, passenger seems to get to snooze of a night time. We pretty much try and do it in 5K blocks. So, you know, and sometimes 5Ks up there can take, you know, like an hour and 20 until the runner reaches you. So you've got a bit of time on your hands. So, yeah, as a crew, you got to like each other, that's for sure, and learn to talk about nothing. So, you know, like I said, sometimes you got to have a bit of humor about yourself, or otherwise you go a little bit crazy. Yeah. Or maybe we all are crazy. So I think that's probably got something to do with it. Darren, how do you organise your support vehicle for that period of time?
Well, we'll just have one person probably doing the driving, which will be Penny. I'll probably do a bit of driving, and then we just have the people who do the a couple of us do the pacing. I don't know if I'll be able to do the pacing this year, unfortunately, but usually we know who's going to be doing what as far as that's concerned, and nutrition side of things and all that. Stephen just has that laid out, so there's really nothing to think too much there. It's just the odd thing here and there that we yeah, we just might make up here and there, but Stephen's pretty good with the nutrition side of things. And every 5K or so, we just stop and wait for him to come, and he'll want his whatever he wants, and we just give that to him, and then we just go another 5K, and we just keep repeating that until we get to the end. So that's pretty much the plan. Yeah.
Given
As long
on
as
the
we know
plan,
everything.
given that we can experience all sorts of weather, which we all have, over up to 46 hours. And there's a lot of kit or equipment that goes with that. How do you organise your vehicle?
Well, Stephen, again, he has that all laid out. He's got the perfect vehicle for it. He's got a spot for this, spot for that, and you couldn't ask for a better vehicle. He's so well organised. So as long as we know where we've got to put the stuff back, and sometimes you can be in a bit of a rush because you're about to leave. You got to back everything up. You got to get to the next 5K. You got to find somewhere to park, and next thing you know, you think you got plenty of time, but then he's coming again. So it's you've just got to be quick-witted to think he knows where it all is, and we're just going to remember where it all is. So yeah, but he's really well
Stephen
organised.
hasn't given you a indexed list of where to find every individual piece of the vehicle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good idea, says Penny.
And Paul, do you adopt? Sorry, on you go, Penny.
With Stephen, I do tend to he usually does tell me exactly where everything is itemized, and I usually just go, yeah, that's great. Yeah, we got this. And 5 minutes it's gone. But I always find it. It's about putting it back. That's the problem. I never put things back.
You've got to keep them on their toes a little bit. So they've got to make it interesting for your crew as well. So you can't make it too easy for them.
It sounds as if it's highly organised, highly indexed. Hey, Paul, it's like the support crew car for Steph. Is that equally indexed and organised?
Yeah, it's look, the first year we had a ute. Actually, it wasn't bad, but in the back of the ute, stuff can get thrown around. We now have a multi-van, which is a Volkswagen van, and Steph sounds like all runners are runners. Steph is Stephen. He has everything organised and it's marked and it's in a spot, and yeah, we leave that between Steph and Darrell pretty much. They know where everything's going on, but yeah, they're just organised people, I think. So they like to know where everything is, and they mark it down, and it's all tagged. So yeah.
So interestingly, even though you guys are the support crew, you leave it to your runner to organise the car.
Well, we organise the car. He's just got marked everything where it is and what it wants and when he'll be needing it and stuff like that. They're pretty regimented people. They're pretty organised.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul, Darren, Chern, Penny, how do you stay at the top of your game so that you can provide the best possible support to your runner? I'll start with Paul.
Okay. Well, it's not hard really. Here's a guy out there running from Eden to Kosciuszko. Pretty much our job to stay on top of our game, to be honest. You don't want to let your mate down. So yeah, you just you're enjoying yourself. You've got the privilege of being asked to crew for someone. So yeah, it's not hard at all, I don't think. So yeah, you just don't want to let your friend down, to be honest. So just don't let him in at Dalgety and laugh at him. That's the good.
Nice response, Paul.
No worries.
Darren?
I think you just got to keep having little naps here and there and keep yourself alert, and make sure you just keep eating the whole time and keep drinking, and just resting when you need to rest. And it's just becomes a mind game. So I've run this race in the past, so I know what it's and I've done a few ultras, so I know what it's like for that mental pushing through that mental bit. And it's the same thing with the crew. So you just need to be able to stay positive and yeah, just look after yourself. I think that's probably best. Just little naps when you need it. Yeah, and just keep your nutrition and hydration up. And you'd be surprised what a little, 10-minute little nap can do. We often don't have big sleeps. Well, it's sort of, you don't really get time. And then adrenaline keeps you going. If you get a chance to do a bit of pacing, and next thing you know, you've run 50K and you're on a bit of a high. And yeah, so I find all that just sort of keeps you going. And you finally, and at the end of it, then when you think you're ready to crash, you've still got adrenaline still going through the body. So the runner still gets a high, but the crew gets a high as well. Yeah, so I think you just need to, look after your body. But I think food and hydration is probably the biggest thing. Maybe some no doses and caffeine and things like that as well. Won't go astray, but yeah.
Thanks, Darren. Any additional perspectives, Chern?
I think Chern just said he had to go.
All right, Penny.
I think exactly what Darren said. I think it's always really important to stay well hydrated. Make sure you've got enough food for yourself. Don't forget yourself, before the start line. You always got the food that the runner wants. Make sure you've got the food that you want and need as well. Sometimes I've been stuck myself where you come to the end of a long event and going, hey, I didn't eat for 24 hours. I haven't been to the bathroom. We're important too. So don't forget that, crew.
Good advice.
What's Paul, having done, thanks, Penny. Paul, having done this a couple of times, what are a couple of the mistakes you've made? What'd you learn from them? And I'll ask also Darren that, and you can not allowed to answer Cathcart or flat battery. I think they're pretty obvious. So what are some of the mistakes you've made that you'd provide advice to for some people support crew?
Oh, look, yeah, that's a tough one without it going down to the Cathcart turn off in the battery, because we had the battery as well, Darren, so I know how you feel. Oh, look, I don't think there's been too many mistakes at all. Just maybe sometimes, you do have to show some tough love, and, take it as a grain of salt that you're doing the right thing by your athlete, that you're not being a pain in the butt to him. You're trying to get him to the finish line, and sometimes you just got to get on with it and, show them some tough love. I suppose that's what you've learned over doing it a couple of times, because, they entered the race for a reason and they chose you to crew them. And, sometimes you're not there to be a mate. You have to actually push them along and get them over the line. So,
thank you. Thanks, Paul. Darren, your perspective?
Yeah, I think the same thing. Yeah, there's you just got to get them going when they don't want to get going. Tough love. That's there's every other time I've crewed for Stephen, it's gone quite well. So there's been lucky there. So there's other people that I've crewed for, it's been like people at 200Ks, definitely they're going to pull out, 20Ks to just get to, and then we just got to get up the top, then back down. And that came down to tough love as well. So it's, you just got to, it's tough love. Kick them up when they don't want to go, and when they want to, I want to sit down, and you say, what, just keep moving. We'll give you what you want, and you just keep moving. So try not to let them stop, because we want to finish early too. We don't want to be out there to like almost to the cutoff. So Saturday morning, 10 o'clock finish. That's good, Stephen. If you can do that again, that's good.
Try my best.
The pub's always waiting. So yeah.
I think something that's really important with that particular question is that comes back to really knowing your runner as well, knowing when they have had enough, and you do have to make that crappy call if their day is done. But at the same time, when you know your runner and there's an extra 20Ks to go, when they can push and when they just can't. And I think that's really important when you know your runner. I think that comes back into that there.
Yeah,
thanks,
good point.
I think one or two of the other little things that come to mind, having seen crews over the years, are sometimes car trouble, either forgetting to fuel up before leaving Eden, then needing to drive back, flat batteries, common thing. Not being able to find something in the car in a hurry, so all of a sudden things are turfed out left, right, and centre. Yet there's actually plenty of time until the runner comes. So most of the stuff's actually well within control. It's just a matter of staying on top of it.
So I'm not expecting any of you guys to exchange trade secrets or anything like that here, but Penny, maybe I'll start with you. What's worked really well for you in the past in terms of being a support crew?
Look, I think in terms of being a support crew at an event like Coast To Kosci, I think having your mandatory equipment, this is a really good one, I think, and this is a trade secret, don't tell anyone, it only stays here. But having your mandatory equipment in a pre-packed bag that's done well and truly before the start of the race, where everybody knows where that one bag is with everything in it. No one touches it, no one opens it for anything or any reason. So when you get to that point where here's your stuff and off you go, you're not sitting there when everyone's tired and fatigued trying to find a glove. You know, I think that's my takeaway.
That is really powerful. And that's going to kind of like prevent any delays or even any stoppages.
Exactly.
If you're not got that mandatory gear, there's no way you're going up the mountain.
That's exactly right.
Darren, anything to add there, mate?
No, I think that's the most important thing. Yeah, because that's when you're at that stage of the race, you're tired, you're fatigued. You know, we're all tired, we're all grumpy. We're so close to the finish, and you just want to just have it all organised. So there's no fluffing around, and you can just get up to the top. And yes, that's the second part of the race, is from Charlotte's to the top and then back. So the rest is a warm up, I think. Well, they'll get to Jindabyne's a warm up, and then that's the next stage, and then the last bit that can take a long time. So you just want to, you can be very tired, and you just want to get your stuff, have it all organised, and go. So that's probably the number one thing, I think.
Yeah, it's a really good perspective as well when you kind of like view Jindabyne as the warm up, and then but the race really starts after Jindabyne.
Yeah.
Paul, any kind of trade secrets that you're willing to divulge?
Sorry. No, Penny hit the nail on the head. Just have that mandatory gear ready when you get to Charlotte's. Like, yeah, have it all packed. Not just the athletes, you guys that are running up there with them. You know, you got to have the mandatory as well. So, yeah, just make sure you're ready to organise and go, because they pretty much want to get that part over and done with and get it all done to the finish line. So, yeah, it's all been said, I think.
Thanks, mate.
I think there's one. Can I add one more thing?
Yeah, sure.
Go.
I think one other thing, you know, you get to that point and, you know, I think having something up your sleeve is really good. So if your runner tells you they love chocolate covered licorice, I don't know, and you've got that and you've held on to it, you know what, you run up to the top of Kosciuszko and back, you can have this whole bag of licorice. Go on, off you go. Or you can take it with you. You know, just having a trump in the back of your pocket is really, really important. And I tell you, it can make them run like you wouldn't believe.
To treat your runner like a 5-year-old.
100% I do. All food and treat related, like my puppy.
I do remember, Penny, one of my support crew members spending a couple of hours trying to find a Coke Slurpee in Jindabyne at about 5 o'clock in the morning. Unfortunately, it just wasn't happening.
I hear ya.
Yeah. Probably like to throw it open to questions at this point. We'll do a little bit of a wrap at the end and just 1-2 little brief updates about a couple of things. But just if there's questions for Paul, Penny, Darren, Sean, if any questions from anyone on the call from a support crew perspective.
Just come off mute, guys. Give it your best. Geez, we're a shy bunch, huh?
Hey guys, I got a question just around if I'm the head crew person. Sorry, I forget the terminology.
Crew chief.
Crew chief, and I'm stumbling already. And I know Vodafone is generally pretty crap service in a lot of these areas. If I do what I need to do at a checkpoint or, need to relay something on the WhatsApp group and I've got no service at that time, can I just send it and it'll fall into place when I get service back, but we may have already left that destination?
Yeah, that's fine. You can do that. What we'd recommend though is you do try and procure a Telstra mobile, because Telstra does offer the best coverage.
Okay.
Even if you get one a SIM for the weekend,
Yep.
you just tend to get the best coverage with Telstra throughout it. But should you fail to get your message through at that particular point in time, yeah, just when you hit reception the next time, then that's acceptable.
Cool. Thanks.
Hi, it's Kevin Dodd here, Lindsay's crew. Has anyone used walkie-talkies and any experience with those?
For what purpose?
Just talking to the runner with, the support runner with the runner from the support vehicle.
I'm aware of a couple of, I'm aware of a couple of people using them in the past, but generally it's not really been needed, or because you're generally with your runner or in fairly close proximity, you're not very far down the road. 5K is not that far, and if there's a concern that the runner's overdue, you can run back. Often if it's been say half an hour or something, it's not uncommon for the just the pace to go just slightly ahead and yell out to the support crew what's needed or something along those lines. So I've not necessarily found that the walkie-talkies have been of significant benefit, not to my knowledge anyway, unless anyone's got a different view on the call, because you are actually with your runner so much and you're talking to them quite regularly. And obviously on the first day when everyone's motoring along fairly well, that 5K doesn't take too long at all. And you're talking about, I suppose, between 30, 45 minute stints, I suppose, at the most, depending on the location and where you are. At night, it might be a bit longer than that, but you've normally got your pacer with you and then muling. And they're relatively fresh. So the communication's normally fairly good. And again, over the course of that many hours, you're not necessarily going to get that much time advantage either by able to saving a little bit at the vehicle by radioing ahead that you need something extra, unless there's a significant concern around something from a health perspective. That might be a little bit different, but generally no.
There's a contrary opinion in the chat. Simone, you said yes, you use them and they were great, and you plan to use them again. Care to elaborate?
Yeah, we had them. When I did in 2020, and we just found them really good through the night section. My pace, I didn't have the pacer carried it, and he would be able to just radio forward and say, I want this or I want that, or I had an issue with my glute at one point, so we called the crew back because we had a massage therapist and she helped me out. So things like that. So they came in really handy. We had quite a few laughs on it, broke up the time and the chatter a bit through Dalgety in the wee hours of the night. So we found that really handy. So we plan to use them again.
Cool.
Yeah, brilliant. We were just thinking, if the runner, we think she's going to do, changes her mind in between the last time we saw her in that 5Ks.
Oh, I change my mind all the time. And they'd be planning to make have something ready for me, and my stomach would turn. I go, no, I don't want that now. I want this. And so they'd radio head, no, she doesn't want that. She wants this. I was a pain in the bum quite a few times. So it's kind of solved that problem, because if I wanted mashed potato or something hot, they had time to get it ready, because I'd have changed my mind 5 minutes after I'd left them. So use your crew. They're there at your beck and call. So that game was
there's a couple of views, again, positive and against whether you need them or not. So it gets down to whether you find that beneficial. One or two other questions on the chat. How easy is it to fuel up along the course? Many service stations? No, there are none. So once you leave Jindabyne, so we recommend you fuel up in Jindabyne the night before, okay? Or if you are staying in Jindabyne.
Greg, you fuel up in Eden.
Sorry, what did I say? Jindabyne. You fuel.
Yeah.
Thank you. You fuel up in Eden the night before. Occasionally, some of the crews may, after the race start, duck back in and get a quick bite to eat or something along those lines. But generally, we recommend you fuel up in Eden. The next place you can get fuel along the route is Jindabyne. All right. The service stations there, by memory, close around 7 p.m. at night and open about 7 a.m. in the morning. You will generally, if you have enough fuel to get there. If you think of the distance, it's 240k. Yes, there's uphill. You may be going backwards and forwards a bit, but you should have enough fuel. Alternatively, there is Bombala, but that's at the, I suppose, at the lower end of the course when you're sort of around that Cathcart type space. But really, the message is fuel up in Eden, and then if you want to, obviously fuel up in Jindabyne before you go up the mountain if you need to. But normally people do have enough fuel to get up there and get back to Jindabyne on average.
Just a wee correction on that, because they recently renovated the actual servo in Jindabyne, and it's open to 10 p.m. on a Saturday night and a Friday night.
Fantastic.
There's another question in there. Do crews cook using a stove or a boiled water along the way? Paul, you want to elaborate there, please?
Yeah, we do. Hey, the crew wants a coffee too, So yeah, no, we take a little stove thing. It's there. Steph's got some stuff that he wants. Hey, it's good to gets cold out there. So yeah, definitely. Soups and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, he wants it. So yeah, very much take one for sure.
Is that the same with Stephen's crew?
Yeah, we use a little jet boil.
Yep. Yeah, always had a little portable stove. We use I've just got a jet boil, so it's actually nice and compact. Doesn't take up too much room, and that's just good mainly for the hot water, for noodles, good for soups, good for hot drinks, and soups as well. So without having to take up too much room in the back of the car. But for us, I think, well, my biggest take is try and have enough so you're not actually overpacking the back of the car, because what might look good at the start, you'll get halfway through, and especially being at night time, if your light's a little bit not the best at the back, trying to find everything just starts to become hard. So the more you can have it organised and not too crammed in there, the easier it is for your crew to find what they need to find and put it back in between those 5K stints.
Yeah.
Keep it organised.
That's good, Steve. I know my support crew would, regardless of how I'd packed it, and I think I'd packed it like you had, Stephen, where everything was very intricate and all in spots. They'd actually change it, rearrange it to suit them, not to suit me, because what was I thought worked, it was not what worked for them, and they needed a different order and different structure. Part of that style as well, and how different people operate. But again, having that structure so it works for the people in the vehicle is really important. There's also, there is the option too for hot water at Dalgety. There is a kitchen there, although it is catering at Dalgety, and we don't want people cooking in the kitchen and all those sorts of things. There is the option there to get some hot water to top up thermoses and those things if needed.
Any more questions from anybody else? Steph, I'll give you an opportunity just to kind of add anything that you might think that's not been covered.
No, not really. Just lucky to have a good crew. So I think crew selection is always the trickiest, really. It's quite a difficult one. For me personally, it's hard to ask for somebody to crew for me. So I'm lucky that they actually put their hands forward. So they can't blame me then, because they ask. So, but yeah, just be kind to your crew, and remember, for me, I always try to make sure that they're okay as well, because they're spending a fair bit of time on their own, particularly if the weather is bad, like we had last time. And if it's pissing down with rain, they are freezing. As a runner, we're out, so we're moving. All past like stuck in a car, they can't get warm, they're wet. So a bit of compassion goes a long way as well, I think, for them. So, but yeah, it's good fun though.
Merci beaucoup, monsieur. Any final comments, Stephen?
Yeah, as Stephane said, really as a runner, you really want to just take a step back and understand that what your crew's done to come down and support us to be able to do this race, and to be there that whole time. We're going to be in highs and lows, and often runners, without even realising it, may be a bit hard on their crew. I always find it's good just to take a quick 5-minute step back before even when you reach your crew each 5K, depending on how you feel, and just understand what they've been through, and just always be kind to your crew. Like just a simple thank you as you leave each 5K. It's just enough to lift their spirits as well, and realise that what they're sacrificing for that whole weekend, and even though they're there to enjoy it, and often the crew are down there because they get just as much enjoyment as what we do as a runner, but they're still sacrificing their time for you ultimately to be able to achieve your race. So I always just want to take that step back and realise just what they're doing for me, and just feel very thankful for that, and just to let them know along the way. It's amazing how far that can go. Just a small thanks as you get what you get each 5K and move on.
That's brilliant. Brilliant advice. Thanks, Stephen. This has been like fantastic. It's great to kind of get the perspectives of all the respective support crew. We're 5 weeks out from the race, guys, and hopefully things are looking good and well prepared for you. Hopefully these webinars have actually worked for you as well. Want to thank all the guys that have been involved in them. Really appreciate your advice, your insights, your perspectives, and thanks again to Stephen and Steph for leaning on your crews. To Paul, Darren, Penny, and Chern, thanks very much. Really appreciate your insights tonight. And yeah, 5 weeks to go, guys. Here we go.
Now, 1 or 2 just little quick updates for those next few weeks. If there's any respective questions, do send them through by email. We'll look to respond to those as appropriate. Over the next, probably in about 2 weeks' time, we'll email all the runners asking you to confirm about breakfast numbers and details around that for the breakfast. That also helps us get numbers right for the presentation, but predominantly for the breakfast that occurs before presentation. We'll just email you out and ask for numbers and payment for breakfast. If you could respond to those, and similarly, if you're not intending to come to the breakfast or just the presentation, do let us know that. That would be appreciated. If there's any respective course updates, we'll advise you of that. At the moment, from council, latest advice is that although Big Jack is nearly finished, the roadworks there, they won't be done in time. So we will be using Cowvale Trail. That's just how it is. And then you'll look forward to a lovely Big Jack Mountain next time round. Other than that, everything is coming together quite well, and we'll start looking increasingly towards the weather forecast as well. And if there's any later updates, we'll provide those to you. But again, do reach out. So the key things to look out for breakfast email, responding to that, and then we will want to start really tightening up on support crew and vehicle details. Although we have some of that, we'll really need to tighten up on that as it gets closer, so we've got full detail of that. I think that's probably all. Mickey, anything else?
There's just one comment in the chat, and it's, has a decision been made on bone conducting headphones? So guys, we're bound by police regulations that you cannot have anything in your ears. So anything that's actually going to stop you from hearing, then that affects our kind of right to host the race. It goes to that kind of level. What we're doing just now is, like, obviously bone conducting headphones don't sit in your ears, and they still give you the availability to actually hear. So we're just running that past the police just now, and we'll inform you soon, hopefully, as to what the decision from the police. But obviously we're bound by the conditions that they put upon us to actually run the race. Let everybody know soon about that. Cool. Thanks everyone for joining us tonight, and yeah, 5 weeks to go. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Just the last one, thank you very much, Greg and Mickey, for putting this on and inviting us to be able to just put out a bit of our insights and what we've had. Really appreciate that. So thank you, and I think we're all on the same boat and saying we're really looking forward to being at Eden in 5 weeks' time.
You're
Fantastic.
most welcome, Shaggy. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Night, everyone. Thank you. Good night.